All right, we are back here on Sportsline. One other big topic today for Peter Laviolette and David Poile was the fact there was a report over the weekend in Canada that PK Subban may be on the trade block for the Predators. And that seems preposterous to most people who cover the team. It certainly was news to me. And nobody I know who's really around the team thought much of it, or any of the parts of it that he might be a problem guy in the locker room or doesn't fit in with system or any part of that. But we asked about it today at the press conference, and David Poile kind of chuckled. Peter Laviolette said he's getting traded. Where? And I think that's all you needed to know, is that they have no desire to do that. And that PK Subban is a huge part of this team, maybe one of the best players for this team throughout the playoff run this season, and frankly last season in the playoffs as well. But in terms of everything else going on with the Nashville Predators after this season is over, who better to dissect what happened against Winnipeg and help look forward and spin this season off into the 2018-2019 season than General Manager David Poile and head coach Peter Laviolette. And they spoke with the media earlier today.
Good morning, everybody. Just a quick review, I guess, of 17-18. We set out with our goals to make the playoffs and to get home ice advantage. Second part of that goal was obviously to improve and to be a better team than we were in 16-17, to get deeper and to get better. I think we did that by signing Nick Bonino in the offseason as a free agent, a player that had won a couple of Stanley Cups. We signed Alexei Emelin to supplement the loss of Ryan Ellis for the first part of the season. We made a very significant trade in November to get Kyle Turris at center ice. Near the trading deadline, we brought back Mike Fisher as a player and for his leadership, and we made a deal for Ryan Hartman at the trading deadline. So I think we did get deeper. I think we got better, and I think we saw the results by the regular season. The regular season was our best. We won our division for the first time. We won the conference for the first time, and we had the most points in team history, and we won the President's Trophy. It was a special regular season, both for our team and some individuals, or some individual recognition for Pekka being nominated for the Vezina and PK for the Norris Trophy. The playoffs has often been referred to as the second season, and what I guess that means is it's different than the regular season. Our first round against Colorado, we were successful, but it was not easy. There probably was a little bit of lack of consistency as we played Colorado. When we got to Winnipeg, I think this was a series that we all anticipated was going to be there for us on our route to try to win the Stanley Cup. It was a battle between the two best teams in the National Hockey League, the two highest point getters in the regular season. And just quickly breaking down the series, in Game 1, really thought we could have had a different outcome. We lost 3-1, but the shots were 48-18 in our favor. Game 3 leaves a big mark because we led 3-0 after the first period and didn't win that game. Games 4 and 6 were, in my mind, our two of our best games of the season, and really buoyed my confidence that we were going to win the series. And in Game 7, playing those games 4 and 6 in Winnipeg were just fabulous team games, and I thought really represented what our team was all about. Having said that, at the end of the result, we lost 3 home games, which is so disappointing because we fought so hard to get that home ice advantage. And in a nutshell, for me, I just don't think we quite had the consistency that we had in the regular season in the playoffs. In the playoffs, and this is something that I said to the players the other day, and it's my opinion, that you need your team and you need your individual players to kind of exceed expectations. You need those special stories, those special individual efforts. We did get some. Philip Forsberg stands out in mine, but in comparison to maybe 16-17, it wasn't quite as special. We got some goals in 16-17, like from a Vern Fiddler, or a Cody McLeod, a Pontus Auberg, a Gaudreau, and to me, we didn't have as many of those stories. Having said that, Peter and I met with the players on Saturday, and we've done all of our exit interviews right now, and we went through it a lot of the players expressed to us in the team meeting that they really believed in our team. They loved our team. They thought our chemistry, our culture was really good. Again, if I was trying to frame it correctly, is basically I think what they were saying to the general manager and to the coach is they didn't want to see a lot of changes. I think if we could start tomorrow and be given another opportunity, we and our team would like to play Winnipeg again in another 7-game series. I think that's how close it is. I think we really believe that we're just about there, and it just didn't happen for our team this year. So sitting here today, here's what I know. 17-18 season was our best season in our history. 117 points, President's Trophy. ESPN named our franchise the #1 franchise in pro sports. We've had 100 consecutive sellouts. We've got individual players like Pekka Rinne who are up for the Vezina. PK's up for the Norris Trophy. As we look forward to the 18-19 season, we have 19 players signed. We have 3 restricted free agents who are Mikko Salamäki, Ryan Hartman, and Jussi Saros. We have a very good team. We still have room for growth and improvement within our team, and specifically this team. I'm very comfortable going into next season with the core of players that we presently have. That would be our goaltending and Pekka and Saros. I think 7 of our 8 defensemen will be back, probably with the exception of Alexei Emlin, and we'll have 13 returning forwards. That would be with the exception of Mike Fisher and Scott Hartnell. As I said, that I don't think we'll have many changes, but there's always changes. I mean, nobody comes back exactly with the same team, but our nucleus is solid, and we will learn from this disappointment as we prepare for 18-19. Okay, Kevin handed out a little sheet to everybody here. Just a couple of miscellaneous things for me is that we have 8 players that are heading to the World's Championship. I look at this as a real positive that our guys didn't get enough and that they're that competitive and they want to play. Oftentimes, since I do a lot of work with USA Hockey, a lot of these players just don't go or don't want to go. I'm looking at this as a positive. So for Sweden, we have Philip Forsberg, Victor Arvidsson, and Mattias Ekholm are playing for them. For the Swiss, Roman Josi and Kevin Fiala. For Canada, Kyle Turris. For Finland, Eli Tolvanen. And for the U.S., Nick Bonino. Just a couple of notes here. Mike Fisher, I guess I'm sitting here for the second time acknowledging his retirement. I think it was such a special thing for our team and our franchise to have Mike come back and play for us this year. I thought he did extremely well. It's unbelievable for a guy that didn't play all year. I thought he did a great job, and I think in the playoffs, Peter, your use of Mike in the 4th line, he just did a fantastic job. So I really hope that we see Mike a lot around Bridgestone Arena, and hopefully with our franchise, he and his family do so much, have done so much for hockey, specifically for Mike, but so much for the community of Nashville. So I hope that Mike Fisher is seen around here a lot. We told Scott Hartnell that we would not be offering him a contract. Again, another special place in our history for Scott as a first-round pick back when he was 18, and now at age 36. I think he did a really good job for us this year, coming in, the leadership, maturity. He's always an exciting player both on and off the ice because he does so much physically with how he plays and verbally with how he talks, and he was an important player for our team. And the third player is probably Alexei Emlin, who I've just talked to briefly. I need to talk to his agent, but I believe that we'll probably be going in a different direction there. Injuries that we're always don't talk about, and in the playoffs, Mike Fisher had a meniscus. He probably would have been able to come back and play in the final round if we'd got there. Probably the worst injury that we had, and you probably saw this by the fact that he was in and out of the lineup, was Kelly Yarncroc. He had a shoulder injury. He'll be fine. He just needs time, but it never got to be anywhere near 100%. And I think as we talked a little bit organization, that injury really hurt. He was a key part of our team, and he could just never get back to 100% in his health and probably his effectiveness as a player. We have one operation in the off season. That will be Ryan Hartman, who has a labral tear in his shoulder. That's like a 4 to 5 month recovery. He should be back. We're looking at this September. I think he'll make it back for the start of the season, but and obviously participate in some training camp. But that's the update there. On our critical dates calendar, which is on Kevin's handout here, right now. We've been meeting the last 3 days with all of our amateur scouts and pro scouts who are getting ready for the draft. We're getting ready for free agency. We conclude those meetings today. The next big event for us will be going to the awards to support Pekka and PK. Then all of us will go to Dallas for the draft. Hockey gets back started here with our development camp at the end of June 25th to June 29th. And for those that are getting excited for next year, the rookie camp starts September 6th here in Nashville. The rookies will go down to Florida to play a tournament, 3-team tournament, and then training camps starts on September 18th. Kevin has attached exactly where our contract status is and some stats. So,
David Poyle there with the opening remarks today to the Predators press conference, wrapping up the season. We will get to more of that as we continue on here on SportsLine on NewsChannel 5+. More from David Poyle, and head coach Peter Laviolette joins him in the next segment right here on NewsChannel 5+.
Ashley, thanks a lot for coming here.
Well, I've never had a wreck before. Can you believe that?
I can. You're lucky.
Yes, I am.
What I'd like to do is let's go in here and have some lunch, and we'll talk about your case.
That's a good deal.
This week on Fishin' Affliction TV.
I'm speechless. First cast. First cast.
Join Dan the Man for part 1 as he's fishing the beautiful Florida Everglades.
Look at this. Sexy dog. First cast.
Your Fishin' Affliction TV weekend begins Saturdays right here on NewsChannel 5+, your home for
Fishin' Affliction time for those who've got it bad.
If you live with chronic persistent pain, there's a solution. With multiple locations around Nashville, the Pain Management Group brings over 20 years of treating pain the right way. Everyone's pain is different. That's why their team of experienced physicians utilize integrative treatment options tailored to the patient. And they don't overlook addiction, with the Southeast's leading psychiatrist for addiction and depression on staff. Don't wait. Call today, 615-941-8514.
My big fat fabulous life star, Whitney Waythorne, dives right in.
Well, we're starting off on a high note today.
Why do you think the viewers are so hooked on the show?
I think it's empowering to see a more normal kind of person.
Plus,
smooth it out.
Whitney shows Kelly and Ben all the right moves. Then, America's Got Talent winner, Darcy Lynn.
The best experience I've ever had in all my 13 years.
Only 13 and she can do this. And science class is in session.
Tomorrow morning at 9 on NewsChannel 5.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, how you doing?
Wanted to come by and see how it's going.
The insurance finally came and paid on our car thanks to you, Mr. Blair Durham.
Well, good. Now we can focus on your injury claim. You're welcome,
thanks.
big guy.
David, Ryan Ellis mentioned the other day he would be interested in signing an extension in the summer. Is that a process you'd like to begin as soon as possible?
Yeah, Ryan has another year remaining in his contract, but I too have talked to Ryan. I've talked to his agent, and that's something that we'll certainly look at during this offseason.
For both of you, what do you think happened with Cal Turris this postseason?
You know, when Kyle first got here, his line really took off. Kevin Fiala and Craig Smith, they were pushing, you know, in the ballpark of 28 points in 28 games for all of them. There's always ups and downs, I think, through the course of a player, a line or player. I think clearly that when the playoffs came, they weren't able to produce at the level that they were. They knew it. We knew it. There were games where I thought that they had lots of chances, especially in the Winnipeg series. A couple of the home games, they were pressing all the time. They were hitting posts. They were around the net. There was nets that they were missing that looked like they were, you know, they could have been goals and goals scored, and at that point could have helped. But I think it was a little bit of inconsistency with the line, and I think there was some bad luck in there too with regard to their production. But you know, certainly through the playoffs, I think you need that consistency and that depth in scoring. You can't always just rely on Philip Forsberg to score goals. There's got to be, as David mentioned from the year before, there's got to be contributors from all over the ice. But it just seemed like there were some things that weren't leading to production and weren't leading to offense with regard to that line.
For either one of you guys, how do you envision the goalie situation going forward? Is Pekka the automatic number one going into next year, or is there any sense of a competition between the two guys?
Well, there's always a little bit of competition between the players in the room. I mean, we got a really close group, tight-knit group. There's a push for the power play units. There's a push for ice time. So there's always that competition that goes on. Pekka's been the #1 goalie for this organization. He'll enter the season the next year the same way. I mean, he's up for the Vezina Trophy. He's one of the best goaltenders in the world. We're fortunate to have him. We're extremely fortunate to have a young guy like Jussi here who continues to impress us. I think, as we move through the season, we were able to find more games for Juice, and that could very well be the same thing next year, but there shouldn't be any question in that.
Ryan Ellis and Roman Josi so consistent in the regular season, a little bit off in the postseason. Any way you can put a finger on what might have happened there?
Yeah, again, I mean, the same thing. I think the same thing holds true for defensemen that are offensive players. I still think that Roman and Ryan played well. You'd like to see that production, though, from them, and they know that they're capable of it. We know that they're capable of it. There wasn't a change in the game plan. They probably still shot the puck as much as they normally do. It didn't get the bounce. It didn't get a tip. It didn't find its way into the net. I mean, Roman constantly attacked the ice with his game and his skating. It's not like he sat back. The numbers just didn't come.
David, you mentioned about Winnipeg and the series, that if you guys were to play again, seemed like you feel pretty confident. What would you have liked to have seen differently in this series that just wrapped up that would lead you to believe that the outcome would be different?
Well, I think as each question, we're kind of touching on everything. I mean, you need, a little bit more consistency, a little bit more, production. I mean, again, believe me, I totally respect the Winnipeg Jets. They could win the Stanley Cup this year, and it was just close. I just felt that, if we could do a couple things a little bit better, we could have won the series. Even having said that, in Game 1, I'm just repeating myself, but in Game 1, I really thought that we outplayed them and we didn't win a game. That happens once in a while. You don't want it to happen in the playoffs, but we should have won that game. The 3-0 game in Game 3, we were the best team, and that leaves a mark when that happens. I mean, we should have done a better job of shutting it down or what have you. There was some questionable penalties called. There's 2 goals in a 4-on-4 situation. I mean, believe me, we go through this all the time, but I don't think there's too much that's missing. But, I already said it. I mean, if Roman Josi scores a goal or Kyle Turris' line gets a goal, I mean, that's the exceeding expectations or living up to expectations that you need in the playoffs. That's what we got pretty much all the way through last year's playoffs. And this year, just off a little bit.
Does the team gain anything by going through the playoffs as a favorite this time around as opposed to the underdog the year before? Is there any kind of experience that can see a positive out of this?
I'm not sure. Next year will be next year. We're going to have to make our way in the regular season, then we're going to have to make our way in the playoffs. I suppose we probably were a favorite over Winnipeg. Again, the teams were so close. You've got one playing 2, and that could have been switched by a shootout loss somewhere along the way, and one win in Winnipeg that we took during the regular season not happening. They could have been 1, we could have been 2, and that's the bottom line. And I think that's what we're saying about Winnipeg, is that they're a good team. You want to know what went wrong, right? What went wrong? We lost. We're sitting here. We played a good hockey team. They're the second best team in the league. Only by a little bit were they the second best. It went 7 games, and we came out on the wrong side of it. And when I was talking to David, I was pretty blunt about it and said, I'd take our team again and go play them again. And it might go 7 games, but maybe we win that 7th game, or maybe it gets done in a different way. So there's not, for me, it wasn't about what do we need to do to fix it or to. That's why you play a series. That's why you play 7 games sometimes, and the numbers were close. there's a lot of things that were close. They took the edge. They're moving on. Congratulations to them. And it's very disappointing and heartbreaking for us as a team. Disappointing for our fans, disappointing for our organization, because there was an expectation that we would move on. But that's why we said, well, let's play him again. You can't. You got to wait until next year and go through the whole process again, and we'll see him in our division. But I think there's a belief in our room that we can win and be successful.
It's clear you're not thinking wholesale changes off of that, but based off of what you saw, is there anything on your team you'd like to see improved or a little bit different when you come back next year?
I think there's always things that you're working on. There's never one thing. It moves. That I've said this during the year, that target moves all the time. It was discipline in the year, and even in the second series, our discipline was very good. There was power plays where sometimes you're hot and then sometimes you're not. You're working on it, or the 5-on-5 play, or you're trying to get a line going, but that moves all the time. I guess back up and agree with what David said. I'm not looking for wholesale changes. He's not looking to make them. We believe in our guys. We believe in our team, and we have to take time off. We didn't win, so we're done. It's over. So we got to take time off. They're forcing us to go away this summer and go on our own. And when we come back, we'll be excited to get to training camp, and we'll be excited to go at it again.
For both of you, how affected was Ryan Hartman then by this injury, and what are the long-term expectations for Ryan for this club?
Well, I think again it comes at the trading deadline, and we've had a lot of things in places. He got shuffled around a lot. Lavi said to him in the exit meeting that basically, I think your expression was, the cupboard is open, so when you come to training camp, take whatever you want. Meaning we're open to him playing up in the lineup or different positions, maybe power play opportunities. Lavi and our coaches put Ryan on killing penalties, which he didn't do in Chicago, and we find that he did it very well for us, so maybe that's something else that we found. So it'll be his best chance to with the whole year to know exactly where he fits in. But I think he's going to be, and hopefully be, a player with us for a number of years. I think he's in a different way, but he's, in my mind, I kind of compare him to the Sissons Yarncroc in terms of value and where he can move up and down the lineup and do different things.
Yeah, I think it affects him. Not like Callie. The injuries were different, and Callie's was a tough injury at the time, and when he came back, he was cleared to come back. But there's always that. I think it's one, it's in your mind, and two, there's the actual physicality that comes with a game. We were able to manage Ryan's, but I'm sure that he probably wishes he wasn't dealing with it, or he didn't have to worry about that.